All right, so right here we see, instead of the black and white checkerboard, we see the red and white checkerboard. But either way, it's very obvious at this point that there's a conscious and overt intent to for this individual to associate herself with the theme of the checkerboard in the red, black, and white. Right, that should be obvious at this point. Um, right here we see the leopard print scarf. Remember what I already stated about the leopard print. I'm gonna go over that a lot more on this channel, right? But the leopard print, that's a major sign, a telltale sign of someone who's dealing with some level of MK programming, usually a sign that they're a beta program sex kitten, right? So let's continue. We're gonna see a lot more of that with her. Here she is with a leopard with a leopard print coat on, right? And she wears that cross a lot. People have to understand something. A lot of these mainstream um, religions and a lot of the symbols associated with them have a resonance on the left hand path of things, right? So some say that this stands for Tammuz. Some say that the cross is an Egyptian Ankh, or it comes from the Egyptian Ankh, which there's a certain level of truth in both of those, right? But that her wearing that does not really denote that she's, or it does not really mean that she's a practicing Christian, right? These symbols, a lot of people who are occultic, they utilize the same symbols that people who are Christians or people who are Muslims or what have you utilize. The crescent moon, the Muslims utilize the crescent moon and the star. A lot of witches they utilize they utilize the crescent moon as well and the star, right? Christians utilize the cross. We see right here this chick who's clearly, we're going to even prove it even further, who's clearly into a lot of witchcraft, a lot of witchy type shit. She already stated, when she said that on her Twitter post, she said the pub describing me perfectly, and it said white witch. So she's a witch. She's a basically an out and out witch at this point. Let's continue. We see the theme of the leopard print once again, letting you know that she's a beta programmed MK asset. Let's continue. Just from my perspective. Now here, a lot of times when I see these stars or these rising stars or people who I suspect are under the programming, when I see this thing where you see a video or a picture where there's two of them or there's two or three of them, that to me it just symbolizes that split within their programming, right? So in the book, we're I was gonna say weird scenes inside the canyon, but thanks for the memories. The woman who wrote the book, Bryce Taylor, she talked about how certain personalities that she had would be aware of the other, or they would be aware of each other, and some of them wouldn't be aware. Some of them she would switch into them and not even have memory of the previous personality. But right here we see the rose with the eye on it looking up at the girl on the right, while the girl on the right is looking at the girl on the left, and the girl on the left is looking at you. And the girl on the right kind of looks more dreamy and dumbfounded and kind of dazed, whereas the girl on the left, she has more of like a seductive or like a harlot Jezebel kind of look, where it's like she's up to no good. You see what I mean? And obviously we see the checkerboard in the background of the photo. In the other picture, we saw the red and white checkerboard. Right here, we see the black and red checkerboard. Right, we see the once again the theme of black, red, and white here. As I already put it, the red is for the blood sacrifice. The black and white is for duality. Let's continue. Now, right here, we see also once again we see the theme of red, black, and white. Right now, this keyboard, that red, black, and white keyboard, that's the same keyboard that she had in a previous photo before she was even going by Luvcat, letting you know basically that even in those folk supposedly Christian looking days of herself where, where she basically did the 180. She was going by the name Sophie Morgan. It basically lets you know that even then she was practicing. She was engaging in these rituals or whatever her, behind the curtains belief system is. But it just wasn't really, she wasn't really representing it or wearing it on her sleeve like she is now. But once again, you see the theme of red, black, and white here again. Let's continue. There goes the leopard print, right? There goes the red again. She's basically letting you know she's letting it all hang out, man. She's all into this shit, right? You never know what these types of chicks are doing behind the scenes, whipping up blood and potions, putting period blood and nigga spaghetti and all type of weird ass shit. Like these bras are bugged out, man. Let's continue. There it is again. She goes. You see that she goes out of her way to associate herself with that color scheme and the leopard print. It's not just happenstance or accidental. She puts herself in that situation to be pictured with that kind of background or that kind of theme around her, right? There it is again, the red, black, and white. Now, the caption on this says the Beatles across the universe. Now, a lot of people already know about the Beatles, and basically the Beatles was a Luciferian group that was sent over here by the Tavistock. They were untalented as well. Quincy Jones said, I forget who he said it was, but he said one of the guys from the Beatles, he couldn't play for shit. He couldn't play the piano and I forget exactly what he was saying about it, but I play piano myself, so when I heard him saying what he was saying, I'm like, he couldn't get that right. I think he said it took him like 2 hours or 4 hours to get like a 4-bar chord or something like that, right? Like, wow, that means that dude, he wasn't even novice level yet. Like he wasn't even, he was just fucking around with the keyboard. And when you read the book Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon, it tells you that about a lot of those celebrities that came out of Laurel Canyon in the mid 60s and 70s, and how many of them they had no musical abilities at all, but they became large music stars, right? Because they were scripted into the industry. It was already planned out for them that they were going to go big. So they didn't have to know how to play instruments and things of that nature. They were sent out there to do a particular thing. And for those who don't know, Laurel Canyon is a military installation out there in Los Angeles where a lot of the stars who would eventually become bigger stars, they were sent out there into that military installation. And it's like, why would they go out there for no apparent reason to a military installation? It's not even a popular place. And then next thing you know, all of these people, they eventually they blow up and become major stars. Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison and the Doors, Janis Joplin. It's a long list of them. Sharon Tate, Charles Manson. Charles Manson, he went out there in Laurel Canyon. He used to write music for the Beatles. The Beatles, they try to hide the fact that he wrote music for them, but the Beatles, I can't remember what one of the members now. I know his last name is Love, but whatever member there is whose last, you can look that up yourself. Last name Love. His brother is named Stan Love, right? And his brother was a security guard for them, but he also played for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now get this: Stan Love's son is Kevin Love, who played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I was gonna say the Cleveland Clippers like an idiot, but the Cleveland Cavaliers that play with LeBron James, right? So you see how deeply intertwined and connected all of these things are. All of these people. It's a Hollywood is a witch coven. It's a cult. It's a Luciferian cult, right? And I'm gonna go over Laurel Canyon. I briefly went over it there, but I'm gonna do a whole. It's gonna be a long ass series too on Laurel Canyon because it's a lot of shit that we could cover about that area and the stars that came out of there. But let's continue. So now right here, we see once again we see the theme of the black and white checkerboard for duality in the background. We see the moon, uh, moon surrounded by all the stars or whatever. The moon always has a very, very heavy occultic resonance, typically connecting to various female deities and mother goddesses, whether it be what is it, Shiva, if I'm not mistaken, is Shiva. Hubal was the deity that Muhammad came from the Quraysh tribe. Muhammad that founded Islam. That was a deity that him and his tribe venerated before Islam, and Hubal was represented also by a crescent moon and a star. So oddly enough, he establishes Islam, and then the global symbol known for Islam is the crescent moon and the star, right? But then also, and here's the thing: those Arabs prior to Islam, they were so heavily pagan, it's ridiculous. And what they really did with Islam is that they just cleaned up a lot of the overt paganism that they were engaging in. They cleaned a lot of it up and just refined it and put Islam on it as the sticker. They just slapped the Islamic sticker on it, refined it a lot, and stripped a lot of the overt pagan elements from it, right? But then we also see right here the black cat. Now we know this chick right here. She also, that's another thing that she associates herself with a lot, is roses and the black cat, right? And we know that on the show back in the day, Sabrina the Witch, what was like her main thing is like a totem, right? The black cat. The black cat is usually associated with magic, bad fortune, depending on the person who has the cat, right? But even in America today, I know growing up, we were always we had like the superstition of the black cat. Like if a black cat crosses in front of you, don't walk that way. Go go around, because it's supposed to be misfortune. I don't know if anyone else, if a lot of other people know about that growing up or had that superstition. Like we had the superstition of if somebody sweep your foot with a broom, you got to spit on the broom and then whatever. Like there's a lot of weirdo shit that comes out of the Babylonian Kemetic mystery system. But coming up, we don't know that that's where that comes from, right? Let's continue, man. All right, so there it is again, the theme of the black cat, right? So she associates herself with that a lot as well. Um, yeah, and being her name being Luvcat, we also see once again the black and white checkerboard right there for duality. So she's heavily into this stuff, man. She's not fucking around either. You see the roses as well. There it is again, and she's holding a rose right here. Her bandmates, who are possibly MK handlers or MK assets themselves, they're wearing the black and white, and she's wearing the red. This is color coordinated. They're doing this on purpose, right? Or with a purpose. Here she is again. You see the leopard print bra, right? The leopard print bra saying that what? She's a beta program MK sex kitten, and she's also sitting on the black and white checkerboard floor, man. Right? This is some real shit right here. Like she's really on one, man. She's really into this shit for real. She's going hard. I could almost promise you she's going hard with this behind the scenes. If she's doing this overtly in front of the camera, what do you think she's doing when the cameras are off and it's assumed that no one can see her getting down and doing her thing? She's probably drinking blood. She's probably doing sex magic, all type of shit. Probably to sacrifice some animals, maybe even some kids or other human beings, adults. Who the fuck knows? But let's continue. Now we see right here, this is why I say she's going out of her way to be associated with that theme of the Masonic checkerboard. Now, in part 2, I showed that she had her debut performance in LA at a Masonic lodge. That's what the title of the video said. It's not me saying that. The video title said that. And that's her phone case, right? So she's consciously aware of exactly what she's doing. This is not, oh, I just want to wear a leopard print shirt, or this checkerboard floor looks nice. Let's take a picture right here. It's not that. It's a lot deeper than that with her, right? Let's continue. Wow. Here she is with the priest of Baal, right? And he's throwing up what appears to be the Baphomet pose, right? Right, as above, so below. He's got that other hand cocked off to the side, though. I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but clearly this dude is a, is a fucking creep. But we see her doing and here's again, she's wearing the red and black. He's wearing the black and white, but we see her doing a prayer hand, right? Now, the average person that sees this in their mind when they see her doing that, it's assumed that this is a Christian prayer hand thing going on. The prayer hands are not biblical at all. The prayer hands are occultic, and it goes all the way back to ancient India. It's called if I'm not mistaken, it's called the Anjali Mudra, right? The Anjali Mudra, spelled Anjali, Mudra spelled Mudra, right? It goes far back to India, and it's a pagan pose. It's a pagan gesture. It's not biblical at all. But what occurred was that you had a lot of the occultists over in Europe, and those here in America as well. They took trips over into India, and they studied under the forget what you call them, what they call them, but they studied under a lot of the occultic people in that region, and they learned a lot of things about Hinduism, and because Hinduism is a more closer version of what they were doing in Sumer and Babylon back in the day. Hinduism has it a lot more closely than all of these other religions who also come from the same fountain, right? So a lot of the people who are getting into occultism, like I think it was Madame Blavatsky, the other guy, what's the other guy's name, man? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on this dude. I was just Aleister Crowley. A lot of those people, man, they were going over there and studying at the feet of the sages and the gurus over there. And they brought a lot of that shit back into the West. So they took that Eastern esotericism and they brought it back over here, and really found out that all of this time, right, a lot of the religions were heavily tied to the ancient pagan mythos and the ancient pagan occultic world. Right? Let's continue. Now, this is her with the she's dressed up as a bunny. I already covered the caption of this right here, but it was supposed to be back to back, but I kind of mixed it up. But she's dressed up as a bunny. Basically, once again, she says she lost her virginity on a fertility holiday of all days, right? Easter, right? She's dressed up as the bunny. Right? She knows what she's knowledgeable of the occultic world, like heavily. Like she's all into that shit, man. Now, this is a picture of her from her childhood. I don't know how old she is, but basically she's a little kid right here, right? And we see what? What do we see? We see the same theme of red, black, and white. Basically saying to me that what? This is not something that she figured out about as a teenager or in her adulthood. Oh no. She has been put on code about this shit as a little child. Probably programmed with this. You see that, right? The red, black, and white. This is her on the swing set. You can go on her old YouTube channel, Sophie Morgan, and you can watch this video, right, yourself and see a lot of the occultic themes. I noticed in that video as well, there was a lot of her performing as a little child, a toddler, and all like that. It was a lot of things of that nature where she was, performing with other children. If you read Bryce Taylor's book, if you read her book, Thanks for the Memories, she covered that was also an aspect or an element of her childhood where she was made to do a lot of performing and a lot of performance art and shit like that as a little one, as a very little child. It was a part of her programming. It was a part of her, bringing her up into whatever she was going to eventually turn out to be, right? Maybe it was a part of her programming to enter into Hollywood at some point, but it never turned out that way. A lot of times with these MK assets, they don't always turn out to be exactly what they were designed or thought to supposedly thought to be, right? Sometimes they fall off, sometimes they other things happen, but they don't always fulfill what they were programmed to be. So they create a lot of them, right? They create a whole batch of them, and then whichever one ascends to the throne, that's who makes it. But we can see right here, she's trying to ascend to her throne, but we can see she's wearing the red, black, and white, right, for the Black Mass, the Satanic Mass, even as a child. Let's continue. Now yeah. Here we are again, man. But even more so here, we got the polka dot thing with the red, black, and white for the Black Mass or the Satanic Mass. But if you look closely, that's Mickey Mouse on her shirt, right? She's under the Disney programming, right? You see the Mickey Mouse ears on her hat. She's under the Disney programming. She's got the red, black, and white on once again for the Black Mass. And she's wearing a Disney shirt and she's got the Disney ears on, letting you know she's with that shit. She's with that shit from day one. She's an A1 day one MK Disney program, beta program asset from early childhood. This is just my perspective. Everything that I'm saying, just take it as being false if you want, right? This is just my perspective. As Chronicles of Judah would say, allegedly. The things that I'm saying is true, allegedly. Right? I think that's the last one, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, this is the last one right here. I just wanted to go over. These are the titles of the songs on her album, right? And we see one right here that says Matador, right? In regards to the bull, right? The horns. Right, so we saw the constant theme of the bulls in her music video, and her on stage putting the horns up on her head as well, for the bull god, right? In his various different manifestations. I know one being Mithras, right? You see where it says right here, alchemy, the process of turning lead into gold. But yeah, man. And also, once again, as usual, we see the theme of what? The red, black, and white. The black and white checkerboard for duality. And the red for the blood on the dance floor or the blood sacrifice. Or as she stated on her own Instagram, the murder on the dance floor, right? So she's aware of all of these things. She knows what this is. And I'm going to tell you once again, watch out for this chick. If ain't nobody told you, I told you, watch out for this chick. It's just my perspective. She most likely is going to ascend to stardom, right? She's more likely going to be a major star in Hollywood one day, most likely within the next few years or so. Right? Her music ain't even bad either. To be totally honest with you, I kind of enjoy some of her tracks, right? But yeah, man, that'll do it for this video. I got more content coming soon. Appreciate you. Peace.